55 million people make self-connecting flights every year. Likely, you've been one of them. When there's no existing connection between point A and point B, you might find a solution by booking 2 flights with the layover at point C. This is a somewhat risky endeavor. Delays are frequent in air travel, so if one flight is late, you won't make the next one. If you're not adventurous, rebooking and rescheduling your whole itinerary from that point on is highly stressful and unpleasant. But 55 million people still do this, and not only because there's no choice, but because it's often cheaper to DIY. In 2012, Czech startup Kiwi.com entered the market with an innovative tool to address this problem. This is the story of how they did it. Oliver Dulawi, a business student from the city of Brno, Czech Republic, was looking for a cheap flight to Portugal.
What was on the offer were tickets for like 400 euros, which was too much for us to afford. So we're trying to find ways how to get there cheaper.
In the end, he managed to pay only 80 euros by finding the best and cheapest route. Throughout the vacation, he kept thinking that maybe a wider audience could benefit from the same method, but without spending hours rummaging through dozens of web pages. So he started a company.
Initially, I had to find an investor to give me some angel capital, let's say, to start building the company. Then I found a CTO and the coder who built the first algorithm. And then it actually got traction, and since then we are growing.
The company was initially called Skypicker. At first, they only covered flights by low-cost carriers, a smart choice. Among those 55 million people we mentioned earlier, almost all included at least one low-cost flight in their self-connections. That's because LCCs like Ryanair, EasyJet, or Southwest aren't traditionally included in the connecting flight offers. So, how does traditional interlining work? Traditional interlining involves an agreement between airlines. If there are no direct routes available, a global distribution system that provides inventory for travel booking will construct options based on interline agreements. One of the carriers on that route will create a super PNR, a digital record of a passenger, issue a single ticket, and pay other airlines back. In terms of traveler convenience, this means that they will have only one ticket, check in once, have their baggage automatically carried at each leg of the journey, and of course, they'll be rebooked free of charge in the case of disruptions. Another type of interlining you might have heard of is called code sharing, functioning on top of existing interlining agreements. This model means that an airline can operate flights on behalf of a partner airline. On booking websites, code sharing is identified by the phrase, operated by a different airline, printed in smaller font. This is how airlines broaden their reach without increasing their fleet. So, you may wonder, why aren't low-cost carriers usually included in these agreements? Mature airlines have had the required infrastructure for decades, while young, low-cost carriers don't want to get into the expensive and difficult process of joining the partnerships. This is why Skypicker and later Kiwi focused on providing connected flights by LCCs on their platform. How did they do it?
The main differentiator of Kiwi.com is that we have this so-called virtual interlining. This is a thing which we have invented and pioneered from the very beginning, and it's basically combining of flights of carriers which do not cooperate with each other. So we can combine, for example, Air France with Ryanair or British Airways with EasyJet.
Kiwi uses an AI algorithm to generate unique flight combinations. The algorithm is fed data from around 450 sources, including global distribution systems, airlines themselves, and third-party data aggregators. The exact workings of the algorithm are, of course, secret, but it routes by connecting airlines that are not officially interlining. Kiwi also has a unique content acquisition and processing system, allowing them to get the best content from the carriers. The final combinations are then shared throughout the distribution network, including not only on the Kiwi.com website, but also on other OTAs, meta search engines, and more. Unlike DIY interlining, Kiwi allows you to pay once on the single platform and will also rebook you and even pay for the hotel if the flight is rescheduled or canceled. So it practically solves the self-connecting problem by simplifying research and reducing the risk. Or does it? Here are some problems Kiwi has been having. Of over 60,000 reviews for Kiwi on Trustpilot, 30% are bad. On TripAdvisor and other forums and review websites, people report the lack of customer service, late refunds or lack of one, and even go as far as calling the business a scam.
I've been struggling with emails back and forth. I've tried calling them. I made an effort to go through LinkedIn for the two co-founders. I had to pay another $453 in order to get rebooked again on the same day that I originally had them.
2020 was a difficult year for everyone, Kiwi included. Flights were rescheduled and canceled left and right, and the company noticeably struggled to keep customers satisfied. Besides, they were no longer the only guarantee of free rebooking. Airlines themselves started offering to change or postpone flights free of charge. This situation highlighted other issues with Kiwi itself and virtual interlining on the whole. First, airlines aren't always happy about being forced into these flight connections.
Of course, there are some airlines which are trying to build, for example, their own solution, or even worse, some of them just don't want to partner or interline with anybody. From my perspective, what we are trying to do is to bring value to the customers. So as long as there is a demand for these itineraries, I think they have to be offered. So yeah, you're right. With some airlines, we just do it without actually even asking them.
Carriers have been fighting for control over their distribution within the NDC program, which would allow them to personalize offers and sell ancillaries on third-party websites. But with virtual interlining, they don't gain any customer information, making them unable to target offers effectively. This also results in Kiwi having full control over communication between a carrier and a client. So not only are travelers sometimes not updated on the flight status, airlines may have no records of their booking.
I don't believe I actually had real flights, even though they put in my account that they were confirmed. But I didn't exist in EasyJet or Air France.
These problems pinpoint not the malicious nature of the company, but the need to smooth many processes out, and maybe not by Kiwi alone. Kiwi introduced the world to an innovative idea, and the world listened. Companies like DoHop and Air Black Box have been working on improvements. Let's call it managed virtual interlining. Basically, it allows for building partnerships between airlines without the traditional complexity. And it works not around the airlines, but with them. Managed virtual interlining creates a layer on top of an airline system for easy API connection with other carriers, including low-cost ones. Using this model, airlines can create a super PNR, provide baggage transferring, and even comply with NDC capabilities. IATA is working on a possible solution too, but for now, Kiwi is growing. Today, they are on a mission to create unique travel connections regardless of the transportation mode.
We want to aggregate global transportation content, be it flights, trains, buses, even city micromobility, ride-hailing services and public transportation into one single platform that will always find the best option to get the customers from any A to any B anywhere in the world.
With trains becoming a preferred option for eco-conscious travelers, Kiwi is tapping into the promising market and innovating multimodal traveling, rather than focusing strictly on flights. So let's wish them the best of luck and hope that those reviews will turn 100% positive in the upcoming months. We're excited to see it happen.